Nam Shrishtam Manamapi Shachiputram Atra Swarupam Rupam Tasyagraja Muripurim Maturim Goshvatim Radha Kundam Girivaram Aho Radhika Madhavasam Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Sri Guru Tamanatosmi Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namah Ananda Leelamaya Vigrahaya Prema Bhadyabhyacchavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Bhakta-veda aparadalakse Sham Sundar Shikhanda Shekhara Smaraha Smurali Manora Radhikarasakamama Kripanidhe Swapriya Charna Kim Kurin Kuru Tavaivasmi Na Jivami Tvayavana Iti Vikyaya Devi Tam Nayamam Charnantikam. First of all, I offer my Sastang Dandavat Puspanjali, my heart like flowers thousands of times at the lotus feet of my holy master, my supremely worshipable spiritual Gurudev, Asmadhiya Paravaratama Gurupada Padma, Nityalila Pravisht Om Vishnupad, Ashtotarasta Sri Rupanugacharya Varya, Sila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Secondly, I offer my pranam thousands of times at the lotus feet of my Param Gurudev, to Srila Prabhupada, and to all of us, Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Parampara. And finally, I offer my pranam to all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavas.
Shri Gurudeva ki.
So this morning, we heard Iti Veda Savai Vidvan, Yo Vidvan Sa Guru Hari. That the person was realized, oh, my Lord is so dear to me, and I am also dear to my Lord. And therefore, he is always joyful and not touched by the Bhava Mahadavagni. Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam, that fire of material existence has been extinguished. So, Iti Veda Savai Vidvan, that person is a Vidvan. Learned, actually realized in Shastra. And Yo Vidvan Sa Guru. He can be Guru. And Sa Guru Hari. And he is also Hari. This is astonishing. Because the Supreme Lord enters into his devotees, and in the form of his devotees, he speaks Srimad Bhagavatam. Kasma yena vibhas toyam atalo jnana pradipa pura. In the end of Srimad Bhagavatam, it said, Krishna entered into Brahma, and Krishna in the form of Brahma instructed Narad. Then Krishna entered into Narad, and Krishna in the form of Narad instructed the Vyasadeva. Then Krishna entered into Vyasadeva, and Krishna in the form of Vyasadeva instructed Shukadeva Goswami. So this is the Bhagavat Guru Parampara. It is a Guru Parampara which appears to be so many gurus, but really it's Bhagavan himself. It is also the gurus, but it is Bhagavan's own parampara. So beautiful. Krishna is revealing himself. Tasyai satma vivrinute tanum swam. Only the Lord can reveal himself to others. So, at first, disciple does not understand. He's thinking that Krishna is sitting on the altar and holding the flute. But he does not realize Krishna is also sitting on the Vyasasan and giving the Bhagavatam class. After some time, when the anarthas become removed, then realize, oh, that Lord who is dear to me and to whom I am very dear, from the very beginning came to save me in the form of Gurudev. That Krishna I did not recognize, but he came in the form of Gurudev. So Guru Krishna Rupa Hiya Shastra Pramane. Guru Rupa Krishna Kripa Karen Bhaktagane. It is said that the Diksha Guru is called Krishna Rup, the form of Krishna through whom mercy is given. And Shiksha Guru Teto Jani Shikshan Krishna Swarup. Antaryami Bhakta Shrestha A Dui Rup. And the Shiksha Guru in Chaitanya Charitamrita is called Krishna Swarup. Shiksha Guru Keto Jani Krishna Swarup. Antaryami Bhakta Shrestha, and he has two forms. He's there in the heart and he manifests outwardly as Bhakta Shrestha, the best among the Vaishnavas. A Dui Rup. So, Diksha Guru is called Krishna Rup, Shiksha Guru is called Krishna Swarup. What is the difference between Krishna Rup and Krishna Swarup? The word Rup means form, and Swarup can also mean form, but particularly it means nature and character. Is there any difference between the body of Krishna and the character and qualities of Krishna? No. So in the same way, ideally, because we're discussing different types of gurus, the Diksha Guru and the Shiksha Guru, who are both realized, they're actually one person, that is Krishna. They are the Akhanda Guru-tattva, one indivisible Guru-tattva speaking through two different persons, it seems. So Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru should be one. The Shiksha Guru helps us develop our love and understanding and devotion and service to our Diksha Guru. Once, my Gurudev, he was traveling and he came to one place and there was a devotee there and he had received Harinam from Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And then afterwards, he received Diksha because Prabhupada left this world. Then he received Diksha from Param Pujapad Srila Bhakti-Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj. And now he was taking Shiksha from my Gurudev. But he did not realize, did not understand the principle of Akhanda Guru-tattva. So his heart was divided. Who am I serving? Who am I following? So he came in front of my Gurudev and sat down. And without even posing the question, my Gurudev could see the confusion in his eyes, in his heart. And he said, your heart is divided. Your heart is divided. I understand this. So you have some confusion and some doubt. So then Gurudev explained that what is the nature of the Guru Parampara? Gurudev said, when I was a young devotee and I came to my Gurudev, I was listening. And if Gurudev was explaining Vedanta Sutra, I looked and it was just as if Baladev Vidyabhushan had come there and was giving the lecture on Vedanta Sutra. Then, if Gurudev was explaining the Tattva Siddhanta, Bhakti Tattva, Krishna Tattva, these things, I looked and it seemed to me as if Jiva Goswami himself had appeared and was instructing. And if my Gurudev, he was telling very beautiful, sweet pastimes of Radha and Krishna, then it was as if Rupa Goswami Pad had appeared and was speaking. So in this way, it is said Shri Guru is a transparent medium. And all the parampara, they are there. And they can speak through that great personality. So in this way, Gurudev instructed him so that his dvandva, his duality in regard to Guru-tattva was removed. And he became very satisfied. So, this morning we discussed this subject of what it means, Guru-tattva, how Krishna is not only on the altar, but comes to us in the form of Guru, though we may not recognize in the beginning. Yadyapi Amara Guru Chaitanya Das, Tatapi Janiya Ami Tara Prakash. I know my Guru is a devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but I also see him as a Prakash, a manifestation of Mahaprabhu. So both visions should be there. Srila Vishnu Thakur has commented that one should not think that Guru is just a rishi, like a great sage who's very learned in Shastra. And if you say, yes, Guru is not a rishi, he is Bhagavan. But you should not think in your mind that he is any angsa or kala of Bhagavan. Like Paramatma, or Narayan, or Dwakadish even. But Sakshad Haritvaina Samasta Shastra. Brajendra Nandan Shama Sundar, the original form of Supreme Lord, has come to me in another form to deliver me and bring me to his lotus feet. Naivopayacha patitim kavayasthavesha brahmayashar kritaridam udasmarantam antabhahistanubitan ashubhan vidunvan acharya cheta vapasa swagatim dhyanakti. After receiving instructions from Krishna, Uddhavji, he said, "Oh my Lord, even the great poets, even great kavis, enlightened persons, if they glorify you with poetry, for the life of Lord Brahma." How long is Lord Brahma's life? 311 trillion years. We cannot even imagine. So even if the great poets will glorify you, Krishna, for 311 trillion years, then they cannot get to the end of your glories. Why? Because you are so kind that you appear in two ways. As the Chaitya Guru in the heart, and you appear outwardly in the form of the Acharya. Acharya Chaitya Vapaswa Swagatim Dhyanakti. And give us guidance from within and without so that we can overcome all the obstacles on the path of spiritual life and attain our supreme destination. So now we came to the subject of two types of speakers. The person who speaks with attachment and without attachment. So the one who has attachment, there are some symptoms. They are greedy, they are lusty, and they give initiation without testing the disciples. And it causes a disturbance in society. Now we come to the Nirag Vakta, the speaker who has no attachments. What are their characteristics? So we mentioned this morning, Kulam Shilam Atacharam Avicharya Param Gurum Bhajeta Sravanadyati Sarasam Sarasagaram. The meaning is Shravanadi Arti, that person who is very eager to hear, etc., to hear and chant and remember and serve. That person should worship Param Gurum, the highest Guru. How is that highest Guru? Sarasam Sarasagaram. Sarasam means when they speak the pastimes of Sri Krishna, it is full of rasa, full of flavor, so very relishable. Sarasam. And Sarasagaram. They are an ocean of poignant conclusions, the sar. Because in any subject, a person may study a subject, but then when they speak on it, they never touch the actual most active principles. They cannot extract the essence of it. But a Vaishnava is called Saragrahi, one who accepts the essence. Saragrahi Vaishnava. And the opposite of the Saragrahi Vaishnava is the Bharavahi. Not really a Vaishnava. Bhara means a burden, and Bahi means one who carries. So someone studies so many scriptures and carries them like a heavy weight of just remembering many things on their head. But the essence, the devotion, the realization is not there. So they are called Bharavahi, those who carry a burden. But Vaishnava is Saragrahi, they accept the essence. So who can, in explaining anything, extract the essence and impart that to us? That is the Param Guru, the highest type of Guru. So two qualifications here. Sarasam Sarasagaram. The Katha is very relishable and it is filled with the essential conclusions. So in the first line, this is requires some explanation. Kulam Shilam Achacharam Vicharya Avicharya. When one approaches such a guru, then avicharya, you should not do vichara. There are certain things that you should not consider. So first one, kulam. What is their kul? What is their dynasty? What is their birth and background? Ache Vishnu Shiladi Gurushu Narapati Vaishnavi Jati Buddhi. One should not consider the jati. What is the birth of the Vaishnava? Because Mahaprabhu said to Haridas Thakur, you and I, we are the same caste. Mahaprabhu is a high caste Brahmin and Haridas Thakur is a Muslim. Outside of the Vedic system, so how can we say the same caste? Why? Because Diksha Kali Bhakta Kari Atma Samarpan, say Kali Krishna Kari Tari Atma Sam, say Deya Kari Tari Chidanandamoy, Aprakrita Deya Tara Charna Bhajai. When the devotee surrenders to his guru, then Krishna sends a very beautiful spiritual body. So all of those who have a spiritual body, they're in the same caste, Sachidananda caste. Aprakrita Deya caste. So this is why Mahaprabhu said, you and I are the same caste. I am Brahmin, you are Muslim. No, I am Sachidananda, you are Sachidananda. Same caste. So, Ye bhaja say bada abhaktahina cha Krishna bhajani nahi jati kula di vichar. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught that those who are doing bhajan are great. And those who are not doing bhajan, not serving Krishna, they are despicable and contemptible and rejectable. Krishna bhajani nahi jati kula di vichar. In the realm of bhajan, in service to Krishna, there is no vichar, there's no consideration of jati and kul, family, dynasty and caste. So this is the first one, kulam. Now the other two are a little bit complicated. Kulam shilam atacharam avicharya param gurum. One should not deliberate on the kul, the dynasty. Shilam. Shilam means the nature of a person's behavior. Shilam. Atacharam. An achar means their how they live their life, their achar. So then one can say, so if you see someone who is speaking very nicely, but their behavior is bad, they don't have any sadachar, then avicharya, without considering these things, you should accept them as the highest guru. Is it correct? No, not correct. This is like Rupa Goswami has said, Drishtva svabhava janita vapushasta dosha na prakritatam hiya bhakta janasya pasyat. That a pure devotee is like Ganga, the Ganges. Sometimes in the rainy season, and especially now in Kali Yuga, the Ganges is very polluted. In those times, it was only had the foam during the rainy season. Now it has become very polluted to vision. But the Ganges is aprakrita. It is transcendental, supernatural. If you bow down to Ganga, if you offer prayers to Ganga Devi, then she'll give mercy. So in the same way, A Vaishnava is transcendental, but you may see some pollution. It seems that there's some pollution. So here Rupa Goswami is saying, Drishtar, by your eyes. Swabhava janita vapushasta dosha, faults, two types of faults. Vapu and swabhav. Drishta swabhava janita vapushasta. Vapu dosh and swabhav dosh. So that means that if someone is from a very, very high class family of aristocrats, then how they have a particular way of behaving. This came up in the Lalit Madhav Katha, that Mahili ki gati, Mahili jano. Only those who live in the palace know the way of behavior of those in the palace. Right? So it made, if let's say someone is from a very aristocratic family, they stay in the royal palace, there's a way of behaving. If they may meet Srila Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj, he's born in a family of grain merchants. How he speaks, how he behaves is not like those persons. And then he may look down. No, don't see like this. Kulam Shilam Atacharam Avicharya Param Gurum. If when you listen to him, then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur is from a very aristocratic family. His father, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, had the highest position of any Indian person in the British Raj, in the empire, as a judge. And Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj is from very simple family. But when he was listening to him, then his heart was touched by the Katha. And what he was saying, it was full of rasa and essential conclusions. That Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, that I felt such a jolt. I was so fixed in my pride of being a very wealthy and high-class person and having collected many valuable material things. But when I heard from my Gurudev, Srila Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj, then I realized, I am nothing. All these things are worthless. They're asar. They're not sar. They're asar. All worldly qualifications. Even the dharma, being a dharmic purush, and worldly virtue, it does not give one a qualification for the divine realm. Like Nriga Maharaj, he was very dharmic. He was giving cows to all the brahmanas, but what happened? A cow from the group of cows he gave to one brahmana ran away and joined the other cows he had not given away yet. And then he gave the cows away, and by accident he gave away the same cow twice. Then the two brahmanas came to him. One was, this is my cow. And said, no, this is my cow. And then they realized, he gave the same cow twice. Very bad. And they became angry with him and they cursed him. And in the next life, Nriga Maharaj became a lizard and was living in a well. So why is that teaching there? The teaching is there that I am a very dharmic purush, following all dharma and giving in charity and performing my religious duties according to Varna and Ashram. And what was the result? He ended up becoming a lizard. So the reason for this, there's a reason for this. The reason is this: he had good association. He had association with rishis and sages who told him, bhakti is the essence. And he said, yes, bhakti is the essence. And he was doing some bhakti, but he was putting more emphasis on dharma. And because he was subordinating bhakti to dharma, because of this offense, so he got in this situation and had to take birth as a lizard. You see? So, dharma prajita kaita vatra paramoni matsaranam satam. In Srimad Bhagavatam, all kinds of cheating are kicked out. So, therefore, kulam shilam atacharam avicharya. Don't do vichar, thinking, what is this person's caste? Is he acting perfectly according to worldly varnashram dharma and high status and education, all of these things? Don't think in this way. These are not the qualifications of the Param Guru. The qualification of the Param Guru is sarasam sarasagaram. That is why it is said, we cannot see Vaishnav with the eyes. We can see a Vaishnav only through the ears. When we listen, by hearing, we can understand, oh, this is a great personality. So this verse is very profound and essential, but don't misunderstand it or think that it's a license that a guru can do the misbehavior. Kulam shilam atatyam. Don't deliberate on the achara, the behavior. No. The acharya means one who teaches by his words and also by his behavior. But he teaches the Shuddha Bhakti, the activities of Shuddha Bhakti. It is not teaching all the activities which are valuable from the worldly perspective. It should not be judged from the worldly perspective. So now, Srila Jiva Goswami Pad is giving another praman from Shastra, describing, he's expanding on this point. Sarasam sarasagaram. That the person who speaks without worldly desire, his speaking is sarasam, full of rasa, and it is full of essence. Sara, sagar. Sagar means the ocean, an ocean of essence. So, it is stated, Kama kodadi yuktopi, kripanopi vishadavan, shutva vikasham ayati, savakta paramo guru. Savakta, that speaker, paramo guru is the highest guru. Who? If a person is kami, they're full of desires, krodhi, full of anger, they are kripana, miserly, and in a very miserable, pathetic condition in their life. They're steeped in misery. But when that person sits down and listens to the Nirag Vakta speak, at that time, he becomes illuminated and becomes joyful. So that person is Paramo Guru. That is the best type of Guru. So this is another type of subjective praman. If you are angry, lusty, miserable, and many problems, and you sit and you listen and you feel uplifted and inspired, ulasita, overjoyed, then you should understand this is a qualified guru. This is another symptom. Now, Srila Jiva Goswami Pad said, sometimes that type of high-class guru, that high caliber of spiritual teacher may not be available at some time in your life. So, for this, some persons, they accept many gurus. And here, Srila Jiva Goswami Pad, he's saying, Evam bhuta guru abhavad. When such a great guru is not available, then yukti beda bahutsaya bahun apyashrante kechit. Some persons, they take shelter of many gurus. Here, yukti beda bibutsaya means because they're eager to know about yukti bed, different types of arguments. And so now he's giving praman from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto. Na yekasmad guru jnanam sustiram syat supushkalam brahmaitad advitiyam vai giyate bahudarshibihi. So what does this mean? Na yekasmad guru jnanam. Na, not. He, certainly. Ekasmad guru jnanam. Can one get jnana, knowledge from one guru? You cannot get knowledge from one guru. Definitely you cannot. Na hi. Na yekasmad guru jnanam. You cannot get the jnana sustiram, which is steady. Syat supushkalam. Supushkalam means that it's complete. It is fleshed out. Brahmaitad advitiyam vai giyate bahudarshibi. Bahuda rishibi. Many rishis have described the truth. And even though the truth is advitiya, it is one, Brahma, this Brahma is one, but still the rishis have explained it. Bahuda in many ways. Here, Bahuda means many ways. Giyate bahudarshibi. The truth is one, but rishis have explained it in many ways. Okay, so now, this is the question we raised last night and said, everyone, this is your sadhana until tomorrow. We see that in Shastra, in many places, it is said that Tasmad Gurum Prapadyeta, take shot of Guru, and it's in the singular. But here it said, without taking shelter of many gurus, you cannot get full knowledge. So, Sridhar Swami, the original commentator on Srimad Bhagavatam, in his Bhagavata Deepika, he says that this verse requires explanation, because if you'll just take it at face value, then you say, look, it definitely says here that you cannot get good knowledge, pure knowledge and complete knowledge from one guru. But this is not a fact, because in Shastra we see many persons like Shweta-ketu, like Bhrigu Muni, and even many of our acharyas, they received full and perfect knowledge from one guru. So it raises the point of interpretation, because you often see this. Persons who don't know Siddhanta, they invent their own Siddhanta, but for their ideas, misconceptions, they have so much scriptural evidence. They can have hundreds of verses to prove the point when they are completely wrong. So only book learning will not give one the right conclusion. Guru parampara dwara prapta Veda Vakya. The Vakya, the statements of the Vedas, which are received through the Guru parampara. This is Amnaya. This is the evidence. So the knowledge must be received from a perfect Sadguru. And then one will understand Shastra, because Shastra is very mysterious and describes things in many poetic ways. So this is a very excellent case study. This particular verse is a good case study of this phenomena. So let's see what Sridhar Swami has to say. He says that this verse requires explanation, because practically all great saints of the past did not take shelter of many spiritual masters, but rather they accepted one. So here in the verse, when it says Giyate Baudashibi, that many rishis have explained the truth in different ways, Sridhar Swami says this means that some rishis explain in an impersonal way, and some persons explain in a personal way. And so these different impersonal paths and personal paths have proliferated in the world. And he explains that the proliferation of different spiritual authorities is useful only to counteract the living entity's tendency to be grossly materialistic. Jai Sisi Radhashama Sundara Ki Jai. Understand this point. The living entities in this world, they're very materialistic. And some of them, they're also quite atheistic. They are against the concept of God. So, to curb the gross materialism of the living entities, of different proclivities, of different inclinations, so the correct conclusion that God is a person has spread everywhere, but also the idea of the impersonal Brahman is spread everywhere. It is to benefit those who are materialistic and take them out of their materialistic mentality. To come to understanding there's such a thing as Atma, that there's soul, that there's spirit, that I am not this body and mind. And therefore, the proliferation of different spiritual authorities is useful only for correcting the gross materialism of the living entities. And therefore, it is stated that you cannot get full knowledge from one guru. One meaning is the person who was inclined to, not to personalism, but was materialistic. He took shelter of a guru, an impersonal guru, and that guru helped him to rise above his materialistic consciousness and absorption. So for him, it is definitely not possible to get full knowledge from one guru. Understand? It's for that person. Because for him to get full knowledge, he'll have to go and hear from a guru who has bhakti. And we experience this many times. Perhaps you experienced in your own life, or you saw in the lives of others, a person was on some impersonal path. After some time, they outgrew that path. And they were looking for something more. And then they came and they met some Bhakta, a Vaishnav, a pure devotee of Krishna. So they accept another guru. This is one meaning. Now, another meaning. Vishwanath Thakur is quoting from another verse spoken by Krishna in 11th canto. Yaman abhikshnam seveta niyamam matpara kuchit mad abhigyam gurum shantam upasita madatmakam. The meaning is Yaman, Abhikshnam, all the time, at every moment, Yaman. A person should follow the regulative principles. One should follow the regulative principles. Don't eat meat, intoxication, be chaste, don't gamble. All of these things, these regulations should be followed. Also, ahimsa, satya, one should be truthful. One should not commit violence to anyone. Asteya, one should not steal. And all of these yams are described, regulations are described in the Shastra. Then, niyaman mat parakachit. And as far as possible, he should follow the secondary regulations of Shastra in regard to cleanliness. One should bathe every day. And all the rules and regulations in regard to cleanliness, as far as possible, they should be followed. But most of all, Krishna is saying, Mad abhigyam gurum shantam upasita madatmakam. Upasita means one should worship Guru, who has these qualifications. Mad abhigyam, who has realized me. Krishna said, a Guru who realized me. And shantam, who is peaceful. Here, peaceful has multiple meanings. The general meaning of peaceful is they're not thirsty to taste anything of this world. So they're peaceful. The sense is not hankering to go and get ice cream, chocolate cake and pizza from the MVT. They don't feel any hankering or pushing because they're Atmaram, self-satisfied. So Shanta. But the deeper meaning of Shanta is that Prem, love causes the heart to be peaceful relative to this world. He's not attached to this world. He's in the supreme peace of serving Radha and Krishna. And here, so Mada Bhigyam, Krishna said, Guru has realized me, Gurum Shantam, he's peaceful, Upasita, Madatmakam. That means, and he is non-different from myself. Again, so many pramans are there in Shastra. Upasita Madatmakam, that Guru is Madatmakam, he is non-different from me. So, but here we can see, Abhigyam, Gurum, Shantam, Madatmakam, everything is in the Ekavachanam, singular. So Shastra is saying, be under the guidance of Sri Guru. So one Guru. Vishwanath Thakur quotes this, and also he quotes Tasmad Gurum Prapadyeta, also is in the singular. He gives the examples of Sweta-Ketu and Bhrigu Muni, great sages who became perfect in the past by taking shelter of one Guru. And Vishwanath Thakur also gives his own example, and myself also. I followed this in my life. So what does it mean that you cannot get the steady, sustiram, and supuskalam, and complete knowledge from one guru. So the meaning is this. You have to look at the context. This verse that says you cannot get full knowledge from one guru is spoken in relation to the Avadut Brahmin Dattatreya. The Avadut Brahmin Dattatreya, as you know, he had 24 gurus in nature. So what does it mean? It means wherever he looked, he was seeing that different things around him in nature were teaching him good lessons. So that is called Drishtanta Guru. The Guru who teach, we look at that thing and it gives us a lesson by its own example. Drishtanta means an example. So that which teaches by example. So he had 24 gurus, such as the earth. The earth taught him how to be tolerant. The trees taught him how to be generous. The arrow maker. There was one man, he was carving an arrow. And the king came past on a big procession and all the crowds were cheering. But he didn't even notice the king was going by because he was so concentrated on what he was doing. So he learned from the arrow maker. Stay in your lane. Don't have your nose in everybody else's business. We have our own the requirements and things that we need to do. Don't be distracted. Be focused in life and in dhyan, in meditation, like the arrow maker. He learned from the girl who was wearing bangles. He learned from the courtesan, Pingala. He learned from the honeybee who was collecting just a little from each, a little nectar from each flower. He learned from the moth who saw the flame and thought, oh, very beautiful, and just flew into his own ruination because he could not control his senses. Like this. So, the Avadut Brahman, he had 24 gurus in nature. Some of those gurus, they taught him what should be done. Some of those gurus taught him what should not be done. Some of those gurus taught him in both ways, what should be done and what should not be done also. Yeah. So, the meaning is this, that one cannot have steady knowledge and complete knowledge by taking shelter of only one guru. Means you can get all knowledge by taking shelter of one guru, but you have to apply that knowledge in your life and see that knowledge everywhere. This is the actual meaning. The verse literally said, Nahe kasmad gurum gyanam. You cannot get knowledge from one guru. It doesn't mean you cannot get knowledge from one guru. Bhagavatam is poetry. You have to see the context of Avadut Brahmin. The Avadut Brahmin got his knowledge from one guru. But it became complete and perfect when he began to see the teaching of his guru everywhere. So in other words, you cannot get perfect knowledge from one guru if you take that knowledge, just dry theory, and imprison it in the cage of your mind. Now I've got the knowledge. Stay there, knowledge. Don't go anywhere. You are mine. And you imprison that knowledge in the bars of your mind, but you don't see it everywhere. Then you cannot get pure and perfect and complete knowledge. This is the meaning of the verse. So Bhagavatam is like this. It's very poetic. And you have to see context. And really, no one can understand the Bhagavatam without only by hearing it can be understood. So, Yaha Bhagavata Pada Vaishnavera Sthane Ekantarasrai Karo Chaitanya Charane Chaitanya Bhakta Gana Nitya Karo Sangha Tabito Janit Be Samudra Taranga. Swarup Damodar Goswami said, if you want to know Bhagavatam, go and sit at the feet of the Bhakta Bhagavat, the pure Vaishnava, and listen. And take shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by associating every day, Nitya, regularly associating every day with the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then tabito jenibe Siddhanta Samudra Taranga. Gradually one will enter into the ocean, the waves of Siddhanta. Very beautiful. So our Param Pujapad Srila Bhakti Rakshak Shida Maharaj, he used to say, you have to go to the land of gurus. What is the land of gurus? Vrindavan. Vrindavan is the land of gurus. Why? Because when we begin the spiritual path, we cannot recognize Guru. By Guru's mercy, we recognize, this is my Gurudev. And we take shelter. But then we cannot recognize other Vaishnavas. By the mercy of Gurudev and other Vaishnavas, now our vision becomes broader. And we begin to see Guru-tattva also coming through another Vaishnava. And when the consciousness becomes Mahatma, one becomes very broad-hearted, then he will see Guru everywhere. So one who sees Guru everywhere is Guru. Just like Srila Gokishodas Babaji Maharaj, he told Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, don't accept any disciples before leaving this world. Before he was leaving, don't accept any disciples. So then Srila Gokishodas Babaji Maharaj left this world and Prabhupada was initiating devotees. So did he obey his Guru or not? Yes, he obeyed his Guru, because whenever he saw a disciple, he would fold his hands and say, Dasosmi, I am your servant. In other words, the disciple sees Guru as Guru, but Guru never sees himself as Guru. And he never sees his disciple as disciple even. But he thinks, oh, my own Guru is coming to me in so many different forms to engage me in the service of Krishna. So this is what it means to enter into the land of Gurus. So Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, when it was his 50th birthday, Vyasa Puja, he was sitting on the Vyasa San and so many thousands of people were there. And he said, oh, I know that some of you are whispering in your heart, who is this brute, a veritable beast from the zoo, sitting on such a high platform when so many respectable persons are sitting down on the ground? Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Trinadapi Sunichana, you must be more humble than a blade of grass. So who is this brute, this veritable beast from the zoo, sitting up there, accepting so much worship from many persons on his Vyasa Puja? So Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, how can we reconcile it? When Krishna has said, Acharyam mam vijanyam, you should know the Acharya is my very self. So hearing this instruction from the Acharya, what should we do? Take up our shoes and beat him on the head because he's not following Trinadapi Sunichena? Is that what we should do? And the Acharya himself, if he must follow Trinadapi Sunichena, but he must be Acharya and give initiation and speak the verse, Acharya mam vijanyam. At the risk of everyone saying, who is this brute, this veritable beast from the zoo? So what is the reconciliation? And he said that by becoming Sat Shishya, one enters into the land of Gurus, seeing his own Guru everywhere. And the best example is Braja Gopis. Because during the Rasa Leela, you know that Sri Krishna suddenly disappeared. And at that time, the Braj Gopis were searching everywhere. Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? They became mad. And they began to inquire from the trees and the flowers and creepers of Vrindavan. Chuta priyala pasanasana ko vidhara. Jambamba, Bilva, Bakalambra, Kadamba, Nipa, Yenye, Parata, Bhavakaya, Manopakula, Sankshantu, Krishna Padavim, Rahitat Manam Naha. The gopis are saying, oh, Chuta, that means the Chuta, the tree called Chuta, Priyal, oh Priyala tree, Panasasana, oh Panasa tree, that means jackfruit. Panasa means jackfruit tree. Asana, oh Asana tree, oh Kovidada tree. Jambarka, Jambu, the Jambu rose apple tree. Jambarka, Arka, you know what Arka is? Arka is such a very small plant. It has no fruit and no flowers. And it is, for all intents and purposes, useless. But gopis are even asking and speaking to the Arka plant. Jambarka, Bilva, Bakul, oh Bakula tree. Ambra, oh mango trees. Kadamba trees. And Nipa. Nipa is one type of kadamba, but the yellow bowl-like flowers of the tree are smaller. So it said that when Mahaprabhu was dancing at the Rath Yatra, his whole body was as if covered with the nipa, the small kadamba flowers. So in this way, the gopis are wandering on the bank of Jamuna. Yenye parata bhavaka yamano pakula. Oh, all you trees, yamano pakula, you are residing on the bank of Jamuna. So that means you are sadhus, because sadhus, they do brajbas. They reside on the bank of the holy river. Yenye parata babuka. And just as sadhus, their whole bhav, their existence is for others. Their existence is only for helping others. Once very privately, I was with Gurudev in Hawaii. He was making a writing retreat. Gurudev said, my sadhan is complete. I don't have to be in this world any longer. I am staying here only for you and for the devotees. Understand? So this is the nature of sadhu. They have completed their sadhan. They have attained their perfection. They don't even have to be here. So why are they here? Only kripa, only kindness, only mercy. So nye parata bhavata bhavaka yamanopakula. Gopis are saying, oh trees, you are all sadhus. You are the residents of this holy place. And you are only living for the benefit of others. So be merciful to us. Sangsangtu Krishna Padavin. Right? Atmanamna. Right? Atmana. That means we have lost our minds. Right? Atmana. Or it can mean we are about to lose our soul. We are about to die. If you take Rahit Atmana, without Atma, without a mind, that means that when we were dancing with Krishna and serving Krishna, but when Krishna disappears, he took our minds with him. And now we are mad. So Sangshantu Krishna Padavim. Krishna Padavim means the place of Krishna. Tell us, oh trees, tell us, because we are very small, we cannot see very far, but you are so tall. Some of the trees are very tall and you can look far away and see where Krishna is. So please tell us, where did Krishna go? Because he has stolen our hearts, he has stolen our minds. So Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur gave this as the example of Guru-tattva. This is the real example. Na yihikas asmad gurum jnanam. You cannot get full knowledge from one guru. Why? Because full knowledge means gopis bhav. And the gopis are seeing everything is their guru. The dust of Braj is their guru even. They look down on the ground and they prayed, oh dust of Braj, you are so glorious. And there, the dust of Braj being like a guru told them, I will help you find Krishna. Here are Krishna's footprints. And they saw Krishna's footprints in the dust of Braj. So this is the nature of the gopis and sakis when they're in deep separation. that they take shelter of others. And so Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he gave this as the example of gopis accepting all the trees and creepers and flowers as Guru. Why? Because Guru is the person you ask, where is Krishna? How can I find Krishna? And in this way, on the 50th Vyasa Puja of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he most beautifully explained how one reconciles the dilemma of Acharyam Mam Vijanyam and Trinada Pisunichena in the life of pure Vaishnavas. And this is the deep meaning of this verse, that Na ye kasmad guru jnanam sustisham syat supushkalam. One cannot get full and perfect knowledge from one guru. It does not mean you cannot get from one guru, but it means by serving that guru, gradually our vision has to expand, that we see the presence of our guru in everything, and everything is rushing forward to help us, to show us what not to do, what to do. And ultimately, the gopis are the supreme expression of that bhav. So, continuing the discussion of Vichara Pradhana Marga and Ruchi Pradhana Marga. Srila Jiva Goswami Pad saying, Srila Narad Muni has described the devotional activities, especially of hearing, of those who are on the Ruchi Pradhana Marga, those on the path which is predominated by taste. So he's giving the example, Srimad Bhagavatam, the first canto, chapter 5, verse 26, 1-5-26. And this is the autobiographical account of Narad Muni. He's explaining to Vyasadeva his own experience, how he became perfect in his previous life as the son of a maidservant. So, as you know, Narad Muni, before he was situated in his eternal spiritual form, in his previous life, he was the son of a Sudra lady, a maidservant. And once during Chaturmasya, some great sages, Bhaktivedantas, was the four Kumaras actually. They came and they stayed in the house where she was a servant, because even those who are in the renounced order of life, though they're always traveling, but during Chaturmasya they stay in one place. Just like our Sachinandan Gohari, he remained in Srirangam, in the house of Venkata Bhatta during Chaturmasya. So that time, the four Kumaras, they were staying in the house where she was serving. And being the young son, he had a chance to clean the floor, to put down the leaf plates, and to take their remnants after prasadam. He had a chance to sit down and overhear as they were discussing the glories of Sri Krishna with each other. So there, Narad Muni is describing his experience in his previous life. And he says, Tatran Baham Krishna Katha Pragayatam Anugrahen Asrinavam Manohara Tasradaya Menu Padam Visrinvata Priyasravasyanga Mama Bhavat Ruchi. Ruchi, here's the word is Ruchi. Because we're discussing not the Ruchi after Nishta, but the awakening of taste and entering into that Ruchi Pradhan Marg. And this is the exact praman from Srimad Bhagavatam here. So, Narad Muni saying, O Vyasadeva, in the association of those great Vaishnavas, by their mercy, I could hear them describe the activities of Krishna. And by listening attentively, my taste for hearing about Krishna was increasing at every step. So this is beautiful. Ta sadaya me anupadam. Anupadam means that when I was listening, anupadam, at every step, my taste was increasing. And pad can mean a verse, or pad can mean a line of a verse, or pad can even mean a word in a verse. So not only was my taste increasing at every moment, but my taste was increasing with each verse, with each line, actually with each word, my taste was increasing. So this is a very beautiful example. Now, Srila Jiva Goswami Pad, he wants to give an example of hearing performed by those who are on the Vichara Pradhan Marg. So this example is from the second canto, Lord Brahma. In regard to Lord Brahma, second canto, chapter 9, verses 32 to 35. So there, especially in verse 34, it is stated, Bhagavan Brahmakatsena Triran Viksha Manishaya Tad Adya Vasyat Kutasto Ratir Atman Yato Bhavet. The meaning is that Lord Brahma, he received the Vedas. And after receiving the Vedas, Brahma began to study them. And he studied all the Vedas from the beginning to the end. And when he got to the end, he went back to the beginning. And he went through them again carefully to the end. And then he went back to the beginning again. And he went through all the Vedas again. So it is said, Tri and Viksha Manishaya. And Vikshiki means Nyay, by logic. And Vikshiki is logic. So 3 times I went through all the Vedas and I analyzed them very logically. And then what happened? Ratirat man yato bhavet. By analyzing them thoroughly and logically, with focused attention, Lord Brahma concluded that the best duty of all living entities is that duty which awakens rati. That is love for the Lord in a particular mood. So the duties that gradually lead the living entity to awaken rati, the divine love for the Lord in a particular mood, this is the essence of all the Vedas. So this is an example of the Vichara Pradhan Marg. Now, Jiva Goswami will give another example of how faith in the Lord is generated out of deliberation on the Shastra. So this example he's given from the words of Prithu Maharaj in the 4th canto. So you can see in the 4th canto, chapter 21, verses 27 to 30. Now, Srila Jiva Goswami will give a very beautiful analysis of these verses, and it will give you a very clear idea of the Vichara Pradhan Marg, the way in which it's useful for clearing all doubts and establishing the existence of the Supreme Lord. So here, Srimad Bhagavatam 4:21-27. Asti Yagyapati Nama Kesanchit Artasattama Hiha Mutra Chalakshante Jyotsna Vatya Kochid Bhuva Manu Utanapadasya Druvasyapi Mahipate goes on. We'll just go through the translation and the meaning we'll have the opportunity to discuss in detail tomorrow. Basically, he's saying Prithu Maharaj is giving a speech. He said, "O most honorable and virtuous ones, in the opinion of some, Kechit, God must exist as the master of sacrifice, Yagyapati. Asti. Asti means God exists. Asti. Asti Yagyapati. God must exist as Yagyapati, the master of sacrifice. And he who gives the results of karma. Otherwise, there is no way to account for the exceptional beauty and radiance of certain physical forms and certain places. Understand that some persons, they're extremely beautiful in this world, and some persons are extremely ugly. Some places, I remember the first time when my Gurudev came back to India after he went to the West for the first time, and he was telling the devotees in Mathura, he said, you cannot believe, it's like a Svargalok, like a heavenly planet. So there's it's a very big spectrum between the ugly and miserable persons, and also very dilapidated places, and the places where the karma is a completely different karma, where all the people are wealthy, they're all beautiful, there's so much enjoyment there. What to speak about on this planet? Also, heaven, the spectrum becomes even higher. So how is it possible to account for all these differences? There must be a person who is arranging according to the karmas of the living entities. So this is a type of Vichar Pradhan Marg. It's an aspect of deliberation, establishing the existence of God by certain argumentations. So Jiva Goswami will elaborate on this verse, and will continue to explain this and compare it with the Ruchi Pradhan Marg in the next class tomorrow morning. Oh no, not tomorrow morning, tomorrow evening. Tomorrow morning I have a meeting. I'm not going to say on that. I'll continue with this in the tomorrow evening's lecture. Jai. Grantaraj Shrimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Bole Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai. Varasani Wali ki jai.